Hello, welcome back to Steve's Corner. Identify the problem before you try to fix it. I don't know well, I know you guys have had to watch that daggone, that Tyre uh, boy get beat to death. With them five cops jumped on his butt like that. Just ain't no call for that thing, man. But, I mean, it was terrible what they done to that fella. Just awful. But, you're already hearing calls about reforming the police and, the policies and stuff like that. Just like it seems like every time they have a police officer go bad, they want to reform the whole system. But the system is not the problem. It's just like gun control. Every time somebody gets shot with a gun, they want to reform the gun laws, and it's not the problem. It's them nuts that you got to worry about. And there's no way to protect yourself against a daggone nut. You can't tell standing in line if somebody behind you is a nut or not. It's just not possible to do that I know of. And that's the same thing with them five guys that kicked that guy down there. It was in Memphis, Tennessee, I believe. I think I heard one of them was he had trouble with abuse before, but because you had five crazy people kick a boy to death, that they want to rewrite the policies. They need more supervision and more of this and more of that. A sane person is not going to do that to somebody. It's got to be a nut that does it. Just like a sane person ain't going to dress as daggone the Joker, like that boy out there in Colorado, and walk in a movie theater and start shooting a place up. A person a person that's all with it, got his head on straight, is not going to do something like that. And that's what they're going to do. And they're going to end up screwing up. And there's no way to stop something like that I know of, unless you give everybody in the country a daggone psychological test of some kind. But just like before, when they had a couple of them shootings, like from the cops killing people, they daggone wanted to reform the police, all their policies and stuff, and they wanted to was it disband the police officers and police forces and stuff, get rid of the police forces, and they wanted to have the equity in the hiring practices. If it was 20% white in the town, they wanted to have 20% of the officers be white. If it was a 70% um, Mexican, they needed to have 70% Mexican in the police force. I mean, that's just wrong. You don't hire, especially for a position as important as a police officer, due to equity. You got to find the best person for the job on something like that. It's just crazy the way they go about stuff anymore, and it ends up hurting and causing another situation like this. Another thing is people need to get over their irrational fear of police and police forces. The police are there for your protection and help. They just are. You got nuts everywhere. I don't care if it's a school teacher or if it's a dog catcher. There's a nut somewhere all the time. And you can't protect yourself against nuts. You just need to figure out how to handle them, I guess. But it's the police officer, every time he gets called on the radio, he's taking his life into his own hands. It's just basic like that. He's on edge the moment he steps out that car. I don't care if he just called for a lost dog or something. He don't know what he's stepping into. So he's on edge when he gets out that police car. If you treat him with a little bit of respect and uh, handle yourself with a little bit of dignity and self-respect on your own part, a lot of these situations won't spiral out of control where you end up getting shot. I mean, a police officer has no idea what he's walking up to on a traffic stop. I mean, the car could be loaded with a daggone bomb for all he knows. All he knows is you ran a stoplight. Treat the man with a little bit of dignity and be polite to him and do your best you can to cooperate. If there's anything wrong, as wired as a country as we are now, it's going to be on a camera some daggone where. You can sue them later. I mean, to me, that would be self-preservation. A man standing there with a pistol telling me to get out the car and put my hands up, I'm going to do it, Doc. Especially if he's a law enforcement officer. Man, I ain't taking no shot, no chance, man. And it don't hurt to treat him decent, and just like it don't hurt to treat anybody else decent. I think we've lost a lot of that decency as a country, holding the door open for somebody. I hear tell some people get yelled at for that. Man, don't hold that door open for me. I can do it my daggone self. Well, then daggone do it. I was just being nice. Calling somebody yes ma'am or yes sir. Man, you got to be careful who you do that stuff to, because they'll jump off on you in a heartbeat. I'm thinking, why? That's just being polite to people. It's just being a decent human. I don't know. I worry about them changing policies and trying to disband police officer or police stations and everything else now. It's hard enough to get somebody to do that job. That's a dangerous daggone job. I, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Just worried about my personal safety. I mean, if I got to call the police and they're ain't fully staffed and they can't come out here, I mean, you can take the law in your own hands, but I mean, you're looking at a lot of trouble if you do that. I don't know. I don't know. I think we need to go back and start teaching our kids the golden rule: do unto others as you would have done unto you, or whatever, and treating people in authoritative positions like that with a little bit of respect. And I think it would cut down on a lot of them police officers killing people. Because the overwhelming majority of police officers are just regular folks. They don't have no hidden agenda. Oh, I'm going out today just to beat some kid up. They don't. None of the ones I know, anyways. Yeah, and they're under a lot of stress. The best you can do is to keep them at ease and listen to them and do what they ask you to do as best of your ability. You don't inflame the situation. Man, heavens forbid, don't run from one of them. I mean, that's just like poking a bear there, Doc. He's going to have to chase you down, and he's tired and ticked off because you run for no reason. I've seen people run from the cops for no reason. I seen a boy run just because he had a warrant because he didn't show up for court. That was it. That was his only reason that he ran. And them cops were ticked off. They had to chase him all through the woods back here, across the tracks, across the highway, and back through the woods over yonder on the other side of the road. They were hot, man. I don't know. I mean, treat police officers just like anybody else. You would anybody else. They're not to be feared. And we've gotten to the point now where people don't trust them and don't treat them halfway decent. Yeah, I don't know. It just breaks my heart for somebody to get treated like that. That fellow Tyre or whatever getting kicked like that. I hate that. I couldn't stand. There's no way I could have stood that much pain. Well, y'all be good. We'll talk with y'all later.